Got a fun one tonight. Notes to self, do not say and do not say chapters, which is going to be tough because I just did a video, well, a couple hours ago on all the chapters in the JCB book. But we're not talking about JCB right now. We're talking about Justin Posey, specifically his book, Beyond the Map's Edge. That's what we're talking about in this video. So if you have the sound turned off and you're just looking at pictures, there you go. Howdy, this side of the radio. What's going on? Howdy, howdy. All right, so the story we're going to talk about today is the Gracie Grail. And a couple things. Hey, Becky, what's going on? A couple things I want to cover is the Gracie Grail, so that'll be the story. And then we're going to move into one of my first notes from the interview that I had with him, which is a little bit about his quote about saying he uses metaphors, similes, and literary flourish. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, not too deep. My first live. Hey, Kendall, you made it. You made it. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll finish up with some more poem talk. Not a lot of poem talk, just a little bit of poem talk at the very end. So that's the itinerary for tonight. So let's go ahead and get into the Gracie Grail, which is very interesting because on the first read, it doesn't clearly say, in my mind, what I'm assuming Grail is the Holy Grail, right? And I don't really see it called out specifically. I'm guessing it's the map. So we'll go through this a third time all together, and we'll see what the Grail is. Enjoy your content. Won't you? Hey, thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. Becky, thanks for this. So wait. Oh, hopefully tomorrow, Becky. Hopefully. Amazon's been tricky with this book. Okay, so starting out with the Gracie Grail, page 38, talks about Miss Henderson. I do like this story because anytime there is a story where where Justin Posey is the main character, I really like that. And in this one, Gracie is a character, but toward the end, he says that she passes. So in my mind, I count this as he's one of the main characters left alive, which means that if you want to get technical, if something in the story didn't happen exactly the way he said it word for word, who would know? There's no one alive to counter it. Not that I'm saying he's making all this up, although he has admitted to literary flourish, but it's all for our benefit. I believe it. It's all for our benefit is my belief. Okay, so the Gracie Grail, getting down, he kind of describes the changes that are happening to Dylan. So whether you want to say this is a comment on the changes happening to the rural areas of Montana, getting less rural, or urbanization, gentrification, whatever you want to call it out there. I mean, sure, that might be a deeper allegory or a deeper comment. I don't believe that really applies to the poem, so I'm not going to cover too much of it. Hey, what's up, Ahmed? How you doing? Eggs are expensive nowadays, so don't just go wasting them, all right? That's valuable right there. So he describes, some colors, which if this was another hunt, we'd be focusing on the colors, but not really focusing on the colors. If you're into times, there's times in this chapter too. The Pro, what's going on? Tamang said hi, how you doing? All right, so here's one of the first things that really sticks out to me. Yeah, the whole 3 minutes and numbers and colors in the first page, yeah, that's cool. But this is the first thing that sticks out to me because it's a callback to raccoons, which we know his history of raccoons because if you watch my interview, Justin tells us a story that's not in the book. He says, hey, what's up, Tyler? He talks about how he actually owned a raccoon and had it as a pet named, I think, what was the name? Rascal the raccoon, that's right. So listen to this sentence. The shop's name, this is a direct quote from the top page 39. The shop's name, Gracie's Antiques, danced in cheerful script across the window, surrounded by displays that looked like they had been arranged by a caffeinated raccoon who'd watched one too many episodes of Antiques Roadshow. Like, in what world does that make sense? It only makes sense if you really like raccoons, right? Or if maybe you had a pet raccoon that liked to move things around on your counter and organize things. It just seems very interesting. Like, you could use so many different animals there, or so many different organizers, but you use raccoon, which is, there's like, again, 2 chapters dedicated to raccoons in here, and this would be like a third comment. So where that gets us, I don't know, but I definitely wrote it down. This story is the one that mentions time the most. Yeah, this one's got a lot of numbers in it. So if you're a numbers time guy, this one's got 3 minutes. It's got the price tag. It's got $6. He pulls out $10 bills. It's got dates. It's got 80s. It's got 90s. It's got 50s. It's got 60s. So if you're into numbers, this is definitely a chapter to keep an eye out for. All right. So moving on. All right. A little bit of science here. The shop defied categorizations and laws of physics. He talks about how it has its own geography. Little mention of mismatched China. So if you're putting down your heat map of places mentioned in the book, this one's going to throw off your scale because you got to put a dot all the way over in China. Moving down. So I guess you could figure out what the actual map is of, because he doesn't say, right? So the map that he covets, his treasure, right? So page 39, he says, it was here among ancient display cases that held Rocky Mountain beetles frozen in amber time that I discovered my treasure. A hand-drawn map from the late 19th century, nestled between two beetles, displays like a secret slip through time's fingers. So, a lot of time talk. Let's rewind that real quick. All right, rewind. Beetles frozen in amber time. All right, so beetles frozen in time. Then we get two more beetles because we have his treasure nestled between two beetles, right? And then we have at the very end a secret slip through time's fingers. So hold on, because this chapter is this story is chock full of time references in addition to, there's a lot of references in this. Okay, so moving on. I'm trying to figure out what this is a map of, because I think it'd be important. So we have the Apache territories spread in faded ink across the paper. So that's a clue, Apache territory. It's got the Dragoon Mountains on there. All right, it goes on. And then it doesn't really say what else is on the map. The only other thing, a hint is that, so at the very end, Gracie winks at him and says, lift and turn. So in my mind, lift and turn, that it must be hey, Devontae, what's going on? It must be a book of some sort, right? If you think of maps that are lifting and turn. Hey, what's up, Humble Opinion? Because if it's a flat map, in my mind, I thought it was a flat map, right? And then it was, so we've got a pair. I haven't seen a duo working like this before. So just give me a quick second to hide one and do another, hide two. Okay. All right. Yeah. Interesting. They're evolving, working in pairs. So back on track. I'm trying to figure out what this map is, because in my mind, like, again, I'm picturing it as a flat map that's held out, but she says lift and turn. So what is he lifting and turning? Appreciate it, edits. I don't know how to pronounce that first word. It's got a lack of vowels in it, so I don't know. But I'd be interesting to see if anybody has an idea of if it's like a book or like a pamphlet, or was the map folded, and that's why she's saying lift and turn, like it was a big map that was folded. So again, I'm just trying to figure out what the map, right? Because the map is his treasure, it's his grail. So I think that it'd be pretty interesting to find out. I mean, I guess you could just figure out an overlap of the Apache territories and the Dragoon Mountains, and then maybe it was rough drawn. Links edits. Okay, that's how we'll do it. Links edits. That's what we'll call. Got it. Thanks, Warrior P, for the assist. Okay, so here we go. The paper felt crafted from the same essence as my grandmother's sugar cookies, delicate, golden brown, and surely not long for this world. So, and then we get a little bit of, back and forth here with the customer. And then we get the porcelain dog. All right, so listen to this porcelain dog description. And I get what he's doing, right? He's trying to camouflage the purchase. He doesn't want her to know that he has a map, which in my mind, it's got to be folded up, right? The way I'm picturing this playing out is if you have a big, massive map, it's got to be folded. Yeah, we're getting there. Warrior P, three-legged dog. So, so tiny porcelain dog who sacrificed his fourth leg, right? So that means we had down to 3. And then he mentions it again, second to last paragraph, all the way down. Even just a kid who still believed that maps could lead the treasure, and that 3-legged porcelain dogs deserved loving homes. So again, another 3-legged dog. And the only reason I bring that up is because of the 3 in the poem, right? Another thing to bring up, though, is there's a few maps. There's a few maps talked about in the book, and I think each one should be noted and try to figure out what it's a map of, because he puts a map in the back of the book, and he just says, you know, you follow maps to treasure. I don't know. I mean, no, I really do believe, I really appreciate all the kind words, but like realistically, treasure hunting is still a relatively small community in the as when you compare it to like Americans in general. Like, so you got to think about how many books were sold, right? And how many do we roughly know? Maybe a couple hundred thousand at most. And how many of those people that buy the book are actually going to be dedicated searchers? And how many of those are actually going to like subscribe to YouTube channels? So, I mean, there's definitely some room to grow. I don't think, I don't think I'm breaking 1 million. I just don't think there's 1 million people interested in watching me talk about three-legged dogs and trying to figure out what this is a map of. I mean, hand-drawn is definitely going to be a hint there. What else? Raccoons. Oh, Queen Gracie. Okay. So again, anything in the poem we want to kind of call out. So back to page 39. A turret-like structure. This is a direct quote again. A turret-like structure at the corner crowned Gracie as queen of her own quirky kingdom. So again, we love the alliteration there, queen and quirky, but we also like finding out that she's a queen. I mean, I know she's not a real queen, right? But just, for the poem. Finding out that he sees her or describes her as a queen, and kingdom, because we're looking for realms and we're looking for kingdoms, right? And subjects were dust bunnies, which I don't think applies at all. I don't think dust bunnies is going to be a clue in the poem. But those are the main call-outs for this chapter. Oh, the most important one. I almost skipped over it. The very last line. Listen to this. Page 40. The same fever that keeps me hunting, this desperate belief that we can somehow catch time in a net of collected things. So for those counting at home, how many time references is that in this one story? That's at least 3 or 4, right? We have, I forgot where I said the other ones were. Yeah, but that's definitely 3 or 4 with time, all right? And so again, so this is a net. I briefly had a thought calling back to the Baitfish Bonanza, because it was the last story we covered. Thinking that, okay, maybe this is a hint that catch time in a net of collected things. So time is in the net. You're collecting things. What are you collecting? In the book, he's collected fish guts or crawfish. So the clue is crawfish. But then I remembered that if the poem can be solved in a vacuum, there's no way, like 0 chance, anyone is ever getting to crawfish from the line, can you find what lives in time? Like there's 0 chance. You're not getting crawfish from can you find lane. So that kind of went out the way. But I do like what I think P.D. Pablo just said. Where was it? I know, Norman, my biggest fan. Here we go. Boots. Oh, yeah, sorry, man. I just shot the Dust Bunny theory to shreds. If Dust Bunnies plays in a part, I'll eat a Dust Bunny live or something on camera. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of time riffing, which means, so this story has it all, right, Cypher? I'm really a big fan of that. It does, P.D. Pablo, it does say that Gracie's Antiques is still there. However, Gracie's not there. Appreciate it, Links, appreciate it. Does not mean the clues are always... Right, it could be, yeah, it could be. The stanza with Paul, any pictures. Okay, all right, so I think Edward John Stone brings up a good point. Let's go ahead and... that was the last call-out I had for that story, which I think, it's a lot. It's numbers, it's time, it's dollar amounts. We have... like 4 time references. We've got kingdom, we've got animals, we've got queen, we've got royalty. We got the 3-legged dog, we've got 3. So again, this story, definitely a lot of things called out. If you're just joining the live and you missed all the call outs, you can just rewatch it later, because I'm gonna post it. I'm not gonna just repeat it for everyone who saw it the first time. But we are gonna get to the poem, because it's gonna be pretty interesting. Oh, wait, one more thing before the poem. We gotta cover the quote from Justin from the interview, because I'm slowly going back through the interview, and it's going to take me some time to go through, because there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, so the direct quote from Justin in my interview, I think it's around the 13 or 14 minute mark. So he says, I'm asking him about the editor and if he's cut a lot of stuff out, and he doesn't know the editor saved it. He says he has a tendency to use a lot of similes, metaphors, and literary flourish. So let's just, if you'll be patient with me, because I want to get this out there, just be patient with me as I go through similes, metaphors, and literary flourish. And most of you guys the hardcore treasure hunters, especially who've been on previous ones, you're experts in all these literary devices. But bear with me for a second as I walk through all the newbies with this. See, did I miss anything? Parallel Johnson. What is this map discussing? Oh, okay, Boots. Yeah, so Boots, real quick, because I don't want to go back in. That's what we were trying to figure out. So after this is over, you can go back and rewatch it. But we were trying to figure out what the map is. And I was obsessed what the format was, if it was laid out, if it was folded, if it was a book. I think I came to the conclusion that it was folded based on her words, lift and turn. So it couldn't be flat if you had to do some lifting and turning. But I don't see a handwritten as in a book. So I think it was folded. And the only clues we have are Apache territories and Dragoon Mountains. I think there's something to work with there, but that's a quick recap. All right. What's up, Greg? Okay. Gotcha, Boots. Okay. All right. So let's dig into a little bit with similes, metaphors, and literary flourish. So from my understanding, if any English professors or doctorates can pop in here, you feel free to correct me. But similes are a form of metaphors. They're just, you have to use like or as, right? Crazy as a fox, crazy like a fox. It's where you're adding something for emphasis or for more description or to make it pop or make it vivid, but you're using the specific words like or as. So you can have a metaphor, and if you don't use like or as, you're just kind of comparing. It's again added for more emphasis, for depth. It's a rhetorical device. Rhetorical device doesn't always need a response back. But you can also use a phrase, right? And this is resembling like an analogy. And all of these types are forms of literary flourish, which the reason why I want to cover literary flourish is because under the definition for literary flourish, it also lists calligraphy. And that's what the first letter of each of the stories is. It's calligraphy. So as I was reading it, and Justin was saying, hey, I have a tendency to use a lot of similes, metaphors, and literary flourish, then, we have literary flourish in there. So music lives in time. What lives in time? I know we good. Megamind. Big head, I guess. Haven't heard that one before. So he doesn't say allegory. I went back and listened to it. He doesn't say allegory. But there's been a lot of calls for allegory. So I had to do some research to understand. Allegory is just an extended metaphor that applies over a whole extended piece of work, right? So it could be a whole novel, a whole book, a whole story, or a paragraph, I guess, down this thing. All right, Norman. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. So again, that's what we're trying to do is, and that's what my questions were more geared to trying to understand more about Justin. And again, shout out to K-Pro and Calazar. I could only ask him those questions because the community ones, they already covered most of them, so I wasn't going to repeat them. So because they asked him the community questions, that allowed me a little bit more leeway to get some more behind-the-scenes stories, right? We would have never known about him continuing his Victoria Peak and his plans for Bat Doppler, right? That's insane. That's amazing. More insight to him. We would have never known that he also had a raccoon as a pet. Like, that information isn't in there. As a matter of fact, if you read that story, you would come to the opposite conclusion. You would come to the conclusion by how mad his parents were and the damage the raccoons did. There's no way they'd get him as a pet. Well, now we do. We also, I went back and listened to, and he does mention the Oregon coast, right? So that's another Oregon tie-in, because Oregon's mentioned a couple times in the book, but there's not any specific stories. But if we heard firsthand from Justin that he's got, some fishing stories out there. Again, okay, so yeah, not spending too much time on this, just the fact that he likes to use and his writing style is full of them. So again, I didn't really come to a conclusion here. There's so many in this book. I wanted to kind of say, hey, each time he uses a simile versus a metaphor, it might mean something. Or each time he uses a metaphor. But I think there's a lot more metaphors that aren't similes, right? Because I don't see him using and again, I haven't gone through specifically to look for this. I just came upon this today. But I'd have to go back and look to see how many similes are in here where he specifically uses as or like, right? So, is that flan? Looks like flan. I could go for some flan right now. Also, wouldn't be both some nods. Yeah, there's many, but I don't know, Boots, if there's, like, I know he uses tons of metaphors. I might need AI help to track down all the metaphors or some kind of program. But with similes, I don't know if he uses that many similes. Again, where he uses like or as specifically. Same joke. Yeah, I'd have to go back and check. I just now got on this train, so we'll have to go back and check. Oh yeah, he does use a lot of alliterations. A big fan of alliterations. Fitzwater point organs. Yeah, Fitzwater. Today I already had that. If you watch it, post a comment, we'll say appreciate it. Hey, Miss Bogues, appreciate it. Okay, all right. So now we covered Gracie. We covered a little bit of the whole similes, metaphors, and literary flourish. And now we're gonna get to the poem. Okay, so this is what's new on the poem, in my opinion. Here we go. Working in pairs again. It's got to be a bot. They're funny, though. I'll give them that. I'll give them that. All right. One more there, and one more there. Oh. Let's see. Just give me a second as I deal with this. All right. Okay. I think that's all. There we go. All right. Poem. Here we go. Okay, so again, everything that we're looking at the poem, we kind of have to go back and figure out that it could be possible to work in a vacuum, right? That's the overall theme here. So here's a new thought I had, where everyone's trying to find who the bride is, because it's very clever. He uses his and her, right, using the pronouns there, but there's no name, right? So we're trying to figure out what the name is. So if we go back to her, right, because the bride, and then we go to his bride, we still don't have, and his is referenced to the line above in Ursa East, his realm. So if you continue moving up, so you look in at the second stanza and the first stanza for a his. Does anyone see a his in there? So I had a couple thoughts that, as far as names go, what if wisdom was the his? And I've heard, a lot of people were like, Wisdom Montana. Okay, I got that. But the problem with that is most of the time, wisdom, at least in in classical writing, is a female embodiment. It's the goddess of wisdom. It's a lot of other deities are feminine, right? So we need to find a masculine wisdom. What I would have got? What did I miss? Wisdom is wisdom, Montana. Yeah, Alyssa. We're not. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Montana, so I'm just a Montana hater at this point. I think a bunch of my friends after high school moved to Montana, and they all sort of got jobs in the oil rigs and the oil world out there, and I couldn't go, and I think I just maybe held it against them. And then I tried to make a trip out to Big Sky to visit them one year, and I got turned around in South Dakota and ended up going south. South Dakota, it almost broke me. It's just such a long drive across South Dakota, and it was nothing but soy farms. But maybe that's where my deep trauma with Montana comes from. Trying to catch you here in the chat. I've been trying to find the bride for 40 years, bro. Boots, don't give up, man. Don't give up, Boots. She's out there. She's out there for you. Sacagawea's a bride. I like his realm. New to this. Yeah, Thomas. It's a pretty exciting world, man. And Thomas, if you're not in the Discord, some of my other videos have them linked. But there's at least, I think one of the Discords hit 8,000, and the other one might be above 8,000. But dedicated treasure hunters, a lot of great minds on there. A couple times a week, we get on there and just talk and exchange ideas in a voice chat. So yeah, Tom, and it's free to join. You don't got to pay anything. It's really fun, Thomas. Joining the Discords. River is generally female. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Finally caught alive. Yep, you got alive. Diana, PD Pablo, Boots, Wisdom. Okay. All right, so here we go. We're looking for a masculine embodiment of wisdom, right? So if you throw those into Google, you get a few interesting results. One of them, you get tied to Christianity, right? You get a few hits on wisdom being a Christ embodiment, or Christ being an embodiment of wisdom. And so that would make his bride the church, without getting too far into the theology weeds here. But I don't see anything in the book that really points to like hard religion or hard Christianity. So I kind of avoid that. With JCB, I might get into a little bit more on other hunts. A little more hunts have a little bit more religious bent. This one, I don't really see it, and so I'm not going hard into that route. But I just wanted to call it out there. If you're looking for a masculine embodiments of wisdom, the historical Christianity would have that. Another one calls Joseph, and I guess this would be like more Talmud or like in Judaism, because I don't really see it in like a hardcore Christian Bible, but that Joseph was an embodiment of wisdom, and that would make his bride Mary, which would freak a lot of people out because there's the Mary's both like north and south, and Mary's in Montana. There's the Lady of the Rockies. There's the Guadalupe. Mary, so like Mary's all over the Rocky Mountains. So if you're into that terrain, that could. But I don't know. I just have a hard time accepting that this is the official solve. It would be a heavy Christian tie like that. What else? What else? King already found the treasure. Just wait for the Bitcoin. Okay, good job, King. Another rooster here. 80K, what's up, man? Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We got Cash Out Gaming. Johnson Mary Lady. Yeah, like the Virgin Mary. I mean, so if you look at the history of the Guadalupe Mountains and who Our Lady of Guadalupe is named after, it comes back to the Virgin Mary, right? And so that would make, if she's a bride, that would make her husband Joseph, which he could be a male embodiment of wisdom. I think that's a little bit of a stretch for me. Me personally, I spend a lot of time still on the Pecos Bill train because one, it's a really entertaining read, and he does have a bride, Slewfoot Slew, which is fun to say. Well, I think someone's trying to get in. Let me hit a buzzard real quick. Hopefully I'm not getting robbed on live. That'd be crazy. Sounds like my friend with a dog. All right, yeah. Okay, where we're at. So it's not Jesus. I don't know. Some people have said, right? So I've also heard the Trapper. I've also heard that the French Trapper. Yeah, 1 second. The French Trapper is one, and I've also heard the. What's up, man? What's up, Sammy? I've also heard the French Trappers one, and someone else posted a video of another person that the thing looked like. All right. All right, a little bit distractions going on. What do we do if he never comes back? Yeah, call the cops, I guess, if I never come back. All right, we'll probably get into the end here. Oh, Pecos Bill is, Pecos Bill and the bride Slewfoot Slew. So Slewfoot Slew was, you heading out, man?
Yeah.
All right, good luck.
Give me a hug.
Go give him a hug.
Okay, I see you.
If you guys want to see more of who the mysterious person that drops off a dog is, my video, April 11th, Estes Quest 3, he's one of the main actors in there. So you'll get to see plenty of him. And the dog. The dog's also in the video. All right, Slewfoot Slew. This is a wild video. Slewfoot Slew rides down the Rio Grande, and that's where Pecos Bill meets her. So if you want to talk about his bride and him as Pecos Bill, because again, I'm just trying to look at which males are mentioned. Okay, here, calm down. Which males? Come here. Which males are mentioned in the poem? And so far, the only ones we have are wisdom, which most of the time is female embodiment, but you got to find a male wisdom. Or if you want to go for the river, which I know, was it Thomas or Boots said that most of the time rivers are feminine, so you'd have to find a masculine river. But the whole thing is we're trying to find a masculine presence early in the poem, because that's going to be our him or his, or else we're just taking guesses all over the Rockies and the West for just random male pronouns. All right. What else? What do we got? Can I get this book at Goodwill? I don't know if anyone's given up yet. I saw the book listed on eBay for like $1,000, right? Those dogs so much energy. Yeah. And also, with these COVID dogs, they all have like anxiety because their owner was like with them every second for like a year, and so now they get like separation anxiety. Come here, come here, come here, come here. So they're like really needy if you're not like all on them. Or in the book is barely grabbable. Yeah. Does he mention his dad's name? I'm sure you could find his dad's name. I don't think that'd be too hard. I don't know if he'll let me train his dog to smell bronze, or he might want to cut out of if I get his dog to train bronze. I don't know. This dog is like not really trained at all. It's wild. We gotta work on it. She'll come when you call her. That's about it. Okay, hey. All right. I gotta pay attention to this dog now because she's gonna start crying. Have you read? I don't own it yet, so I've read bits and pieces. People have sent me some stuff. I personally don't think, other than if you want some more background on him, I don't think he would put major clues in it. Other than if you feel like you want to know Justin a little bit better. Is it the chase or the treasure? All right. So we're gonna go ahead and end it now. Appreciate everyone for watching. I'm still on the New Mexico train. I can't get away from Pico's Bill. Still trying to find monuments or Spanish markers. The thing with, I haven't been able to find a lot of clear images of them on Google. So if you find some and you want to send it to me, that'd be great. Really like the Broke-Off Mountains. All that land is BLM land. You can do a lot of stuff over there, which we definitely like. And there's also a lot of markers that you could, because again, we're not looking for a trail, right? We're just looking for a place to. Oh, right, here's a new thread. Here, this is one thing I want to say before I go. Here, get your toy. Get your toy. Where's the toy? All right, one last thing before I go. Where did I put your toy? So if we're looking at, if we think we're going to go on boots on the ground, if we're going to go boots on the ground with like 3 or 4 clues left, right? Because I don't think that you're going to go boots on the ground when there's going to be 2 clues left. So it's got to be a couple clues. The first clue has to be on the road or visible from the road, right? And then you start running out of space because if you're looking in New Mexico, you can see pretty far from the road, assuming it's more flat, all right? Unless you're driving in really hilly country, and then I guess that would limit your visibility. But you'd have to see your first waypoint from the road, or the first waypoint is on the road, right? And so then the second one is where you go, and that's why if you're looking at petroglyphs, I think petroglyphs can be either the first or the second waypoint from boots on the ground, because if he didn't put it on the trail because he didn't want people to stumble across it, right? So you're not going to hide anything near petroglyphs because petroglyphs are like the main draw of that desert area. If people are going to go there, they're going to go look at the petroglyphs. They're going to take photos, post for Instagram. They're going to do all that stuff. So you're not going to hide the treasure at the petroglyphs. Petroglyphs has to either be, that's the spot where you go boots on the ground, or that's one of the waypoints, right? You get out of the car, and then you go to the petroglyphs, and then from there, you look for your next one, which would either be a visible peak, or it'd be some kind of marker, right? So, all right. I think it's it. I gotta pay attention to this dog here, and I'll see you guys later. All right, bye, guys.